Hello there, this is Rom Wills, and I'm coming back at you again with yet another video. This ain't gonna be one of my long, deep ones or anything. I just want to say, brothers really just want peace, and let me explain that. Um, Two instances I'll share with y'all, cause y'all know I'm a storyteller, but you know, sometimes the best way to like explain something to a person is not through dry stats or anything like that, but through like something they can relate to. I remember I was in this bookstore because anybody who knows me extremely well knows I would probably spend all day in a bookstore, right? But anyway, I was in this bookstore in the D.C. area, owned by this Muslim brother, and a black bookstore especially, at least back in the day, serves the same purpose as some of them serve the same purpose as a barbershop. You have some really deep discussions, and even though we usually discuss like politics, philosophy, religion, we were talking about women, and we were all talking about that men really respond when women give men a piece, and that is both peace in the sense of a piece of pussy. Let's just keep it raw, or peace of mind. And really, that's I'm telling y'all. This is mainly for the women listening, because the men know this. Even if they don't know it consciously, they know this. Men want peace from women. You know. In fact, a woman could say, you know what? If a woman is ordinary looking and plain looking, she can get a man by just giving him peace. And what I mean by peace, and I don't mean just giving him sex. A man can hate you and have sex with you, but just giving him a peace of mind. I mean, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. Yeah, the sex is great too. Trust me. Don't get that twisted. But just giving a man a peace of mind. Just being whenever he's around you, he's at peace. See, and well, let me share another story before I get into like the science behind all that. I remember when I was, shall we say, more corporate, and I was working in downtown D.C. And to this day I can't remember what happened, but it was at lunchtime, and a brother was agitated. I was agitated, and I ran into this young lady I knew from the neighborhood, and I remember I'm just agitated, and I saw her, and pretty much said I was agitated. My girl didn't say a word. She just grabbed my hand and just looked at me. She grabbed it. I'm still agitated, like and she just held my hand for like maybe a minute, and I just calmed down. And you know what, I was just calm, and I just looked at her, gave her a hug and kiss, and just say, "Hey, thank you, sis." Went on about my business. Because at that moment, she was just peaceful. Now, the science behind that, understand something. I know I talk a lot of stuff on, YouTube, in these public forums. And, I'm always talking about game, streets, basic stuff that people understand. But very few people know I get into it deep. I get into some esoteric stuff when it comes to sexuality. We started talking about tantra and holistic sexuality. That child sexology stuff. But one of the main things I really deal with is the whole polarity between masculine energy and feminine energy. And the thing is, a man, especially a man who's really into his masculine energy, which is active, which is taking action, which is being protective, which is always going, moving around, that yang energy, the whole thing of yin and yang, that yang energy, right? The thing is, we're not attracted to another yang energy. It repels. We're attracted to yin energy, that feminine energy, that energy which is more passive, which is receptive, which is cooperative, which is peaceful. Because feminine energy at its best is like a garden. It can calm down like a masculine man. In fact, I've always said a feminine woman, she can go in a room full of the rowdiest men and calm them down just by her feminine nature. Like I remember one time, this example just popped in my head. I was in line at this bank. Well, not just in line, but several times I go to this bank and it had a young lady, a Muslim young lady in there, sister from the Sudan. Very beautiful, but very peaceful. And whenever I got in her line, I just felt a certain calmness to me. Like, I'm just like, wow, you know. I would personally get in her line too, you know, because the way the bank was, you could pretty much get in anyone's line and stuff. The way that was set up, I'd always get in her line. Thing was, I wasn't trying to holler at anything. I just like being around that peaceful energy. And see, a lot of men like being around it, but see, what we have is a problem. And let me make this clear. Let me make this clear now, because I always get some black women coming on here and think somebody going after them. This is with all women in Western society, and there's a distinct lack of really just raw feminine energy. It's like this tantra master said. He said, everywhere he go, men are men and so are the women. See, a lot of women think there's something in being, that active, taking that masculine energy. And I mean, yeah, it's useful for keeping a job and everything, but it's not useful for getting a man. Because of that polarity thing. And yeah, I'm going to get deep with y'all. Because of that polarity thing, we cannot, even if we want to, we cannot be attracted. If a man's masculine, he has that active energy, he cannot be attracted to a woman if she has the same type of energy. It's going to repel. It's like two magnets. They're going to repel each other. Two magnets with a positive pole will repel each other, and that's what happens. See, a lot of women out here, they're wondering why the men, they got their corporate jobs, they got all of this, but on a deep level, it's impossible for us to be attracted to that. It's impossible. It's impossible. And the only way a man could be attracted to that active energy in a woman is if he's yin himself. If his energy is more feminine. That's the only way. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. Because I'm gonna just say this straight up now. I don't care. Fuck political correctness. You cannot violate the laws of the universe. You cannot violate the laws of nature that's governed like our species for millions of years. You can't just because of some political movement try to change that. And you can't force a man. You can't force a man to be attracted to that. In fact, I'm gonna give some game for the women. The more yin you are, the more men you're gonna attract to you. That's why in some cases, right? And here's an example. One of my mentors used this example, right? Where a man, he might marry one of these like yang type of women, yang type of woman. I go back and forth because people pronounce it either way. So someone told me the proper pronunciation was yang. But anyway, you get some women who have that type of energy out there, and they somehow they marry a man who got like the same type of energy. And there's always some kind of blocking them, but usually, and this is a criticism I have for men. This is a criticism I have for men. I gotta call fellas, men, whatever race, nationality, whatever you are. A big problem with us is we see that pretty face, we see that nice body, those big breasts, whatever we like, and we go for that woman. And then when there's trouble down the road, we ain't thinking about it because she looks so good. But, sometimes just because that woman look good don't mean energetically she's good for you. That's why, and my mentor pointed this out, that's why you get a lot of cases where a man will have a drop dead gorgeous wife, physically gorgeous wife. But she's basically a man in a skirt. And that's even if she's heterosexual. In fact, a lot of these women are heterosexual. But the man, you know what? After a while, the man can't deal with it. He can't figure out why, he just ain't feeling something with it. And at some point, he might have started having erectile dysfunction. They probably having a conflict. And then, all of a sudden, he go down to his local restaurant or diner or something, and he meets a woman who's more into a feminine energy. She's not as physically attractive. You know, don't have the same type of body, but she's more feminine and receptive. What happens is that woman starts looking good to him. Because here's the game. Here's the game for y'all ladies. That energy in a woman, that feminine energy, and part of it is a vulnerability and stuff. Part of it is a vulnerability. When a woman has that, that's magnetic to a man. We almost compelled to serve it. Seriously. And I know a lot of dudes like hate that simp word, but don't be around a feminine woman because you gonna want to do for her. I'm just being honest. The only thing I say is make sure she is don't do for her just to do for her. But if you feeling that energy, you're gonna want to do. You're gonna want to protect her. You're gonna want to provide for her if she got that energy. And your ass is in trouble if she know how to stroke your ego on top of that. And usually a real feminine woman know how to got a certain nurturing thing, so she's going to stroke the egos of the men around her. But but that's the thing. That's the thing women have to understand, and even some men, because I'm gonna be honest, we live in a culture where a lot of men have not grown up around that type of energy, especially if they grew up in single mother households. We already know about the problem in the black community with it, but quite as as it's kept, is an increasing problem in other communities as well. You get everybody want to do their thing, and then women think, well, let me take on this energy. Let me take on this masculine energy. And they don't realize they think they're doing something, but they actually blocking men from coming to her. And then they raising a boy up. And let's go back to what I said about the imprint. Let me go back to that. On some level, he thinks this is normal. Almost to the point sometimes if this man encounters a truly feminine woman, he don't know what the fuck to do with her. That's just real talk. He don't know what to do because he's so used to, he's adapted to having to argue with a woman, having to struggle against a woman, that if he gets somebody who's really receptive, you like, shit. True story. I remember I was at this function years ago, right? And I ain't gonna say what it was because then I'd be getting too much into my private stuff, which you know, too many of y'all out there trying to dox a brother, so I ain't gonna say what it was. But the thing was, I was dealing with this woman, and she was just so cooperative, so into her femininity. I was just like, damn, I ain't used to this. I'm expected and halfway expecting some woman to be all bossy and all of that. You know, though it annoys me, I know at least how to deal with it. She was just cooperative, and she was like, whatever you need. And I was like, what the fuck? And that's an interesting story. I can't, like I said, I can't get into that. There was some issues there, so and if I announce it, anybody living in Baltimore know what I'm talking about. So we ain't gonna get into that. But that was their energy, and my whole point with everything I've said, this is for the women, this is for the men to nod their heads to, because most, especially the older heads, they're gonna agree with this. The younger heads might not have encountered it, but if they do, now they'll know. And the women, y'all need to know. That's the thing that gets a man. We attracted to the energy. Let's forget all this other shit. Forget this shit y'all been hearing about from some relationship pimps. Whether they on YouTube or whether they have a national TV show. Forget all that shit. Women, if y'all want a man, you give him that peace. And I'm gonna be deep with it. You don't even have to spread your legs for him first. Give him that peace of mind, and this works no matter what you look like. Now, it works better if you in great shape. I'm just gonna keep it real. It works better, but for it to really have a chance, you have to at least be in decent physical shape. And I'm saying decent. You might have a little bit you need to lose or something, but if you still cool, you still radiating that energy. A lot of men are overlooking. Now, if you're just physically hideous and you just severely out of shape, Well, the first thing, don't worry about dealing with any men. You need to really work on yourself. I'm just being honest with you. Don't worry about men at all. Work on yourself, and don't work on yourself to get a man. Work on yourself because you have some serious health issues. And that's a video I need to do too. You get there's a lot made out of women, especially many black women being overweight and all of that. That's a health crisis. It really is. Forget the relationship part. Forget what men want. That's a health crisis, and many women, get out your feelings and do what you got to do to lose that weight. And I'm saying this as someone whose grandmother basically spent her last 4 years of life as an invalid because she had a stroke because she was carrying too much damn weight. So that's something I don't play with people on. I tell people, and I've told several women that I know. I just gave them some tough love. I say, look, go ahead and lose that weight, but do it for yourself. But anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent. Bottom line, give men peace. You give man that peace, shoot, you don't have to worry about too much. You don't even have to worry about competition. Biggest thing you got to worry about is what to do with all the men trying to get at you, because trust me, you will have a line. Anyway, as if, oh, excuse me, y'all. Sorry. Brother hunger up in this joint. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.